Well, it finally happened. My AC decided to break right as we get into the summer months here in California. Hang on a minute. It is quite dirty in here. Let's just, Okay. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it is much cleaner in here now. That was very satisfying. So, as I was saying, the AC stops blowing cold. And no matter what I do, what settings I poke around with, the AC never blows cold. So, you're coming along with me as I try to tackle this diagnosis and repair by myself. Let's go. Okay, wait, one more note. I wanted to prove that the AC is blowing hot, so I went and grabbed a Kit Kat, and I was going to hold it up to the AC and show that it's getting melty, but literally just sitting in my car for 2 minutes, and it's already a disaster. So, let's pop into my engine bay and see what's up with my compressor. So, here's my engine bay, and over here, right down there, is my AC compressor. And to the left here, we have the compressor pulley. This is always spinning when the engine is on because this is connected to the serpentine belt right here. You always want to check this once in a while and make sure it's not dry or cracked anywhere. That means it needs to be replaced or your engine's gonna fucking explode. To the left of that pulley, you see this metal disc right there. It's got some weird stuff on it. That's your compressor clutch, or at least that's the end of it. This is controlled by a magnetic coil that's activated by your AC compressor clutch relay. And that's what sends the signal from your car's computer to the AC compressor and your car to blow cold air. This isn't working on my car, so I'm going to just intercut a little clip here of the AC compressor clutch not engaging even when the car has the AC settings on max cold for everything. So the first thing we're going to do is check on this compressor clutch relay, which you can find in a few different locations. In my car, it's right in the right top corner of my engine bay in this fuse box right here. So first thing we're going to do is open up the fuse box, and there's usually a diagram on the inside that shows you exactly where all the fuses are. So the one we care about is right here, and that's for your AC compressor clutch. And there's a few other ones. You want to be really careful which fuses you're about to pull or which relays. We don't want to mess with anything that's going to prevent our car from starting. We just want to pull the relay for the AC compressor clutch to see if that's the issue. I already know that the fuse we have to pull is this one right here. This is usually much easier with like an actual puller tool, but all I've got is a pair of pliers. So you want to carefully pull this, wiggle it slowly until it comes out. And it might be pretty hot, so be careful. So this is the relay I pulled right here. I might have said fuse a couple times, but I mean relay. This is basically a glorified light switch for some function in your car. You can see right here, this one is made to switch a 12-volt power at 120 ohms of resistance. So this fuse controls your AC compressor clutch. There's a few other fuses in my fuse box already that are this exact same model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out one of the other ones that's kind of useless, and I'm going to put it in the spot for my AC compressor clutch and see if that fixes my issue. Okay, I'm just going to voice over this entire scene of me trying to pull this one relay out, which I did unsuccessfully, to just briefly go over what I actually did. So I checked the compressor clutch relay. I checked the wiring harness to make sure there was power getting to the AC compressor. I checked that there was enough resistance in the magnetic coil in the compressor clutch, and all that led me nowhere. So instead, I found a $10 coupon at Pep Boys to go get my AC system evaluated. So that's exactly what I did. I took it there. They loaded it up with a little bit of refrigerant, and they immediately found a big old leak in my condenser. But my leak was so easy to find that they didn't even charge me the $10. So we're putting that towards fixing this condenser ourselves. So the rest of this video is not going to be a diagnosis video, but it's going to be kind of a vlog of me fixing this condenser and getting my AC working again. Yeah, I give up. Also, I want to mention about that Rock Auto shopping spree. I did want to get as nice of a condenser as I could, so I found a Denso brand compressor. Denso makes a lot of Honda's OEM parts. I'm not sure if they made the OEM compressor for this car, but I know that it's a reliable and trustworthy brand. Apparently it comes with the receiver dryer on, because I did just buy another receiver dryer separately. I don't know. This is cool though. Another thing I want to mention as I start this repair on video is that I filmed most of these clips after the fact. So after doing each of these steps, I took my phone out to film because I was scared shitless the whole time doing this repair because I've never worked with AC stuff before. So my priority was making sure that I was doing the job right, not getting it on video. So some of this might feel not really helpful as a guide, and there's a reason for that. There are some little retainer clips that you're gonna have to pull out or carefully lift this off of this rail and then just let it hang here like I'm doing. So, tools that I have for this job: regular flashlight, UV flashlight, gloves, lots and lots of gloves, a screwdriver and accompanying bit set, WD-40, pair of pliers, my ratchet, and a socket set. For this, I mainly need 10 mil. Paper towels. Ideally, you have shop towels, less fibers that tear away from stuff. And then I have some PAG 46 with UV dye built in, so we can check for leaks in the future. So right down here, we're gonna look, and this is where we're starting our repair. Right in here was a bolt that I removed, 10 mil head. And then right up here is the bolt for, I believe this is the high pressure line. And that I just removed, also a 10 millimeter head. And now we're going to wiggle this loose. We're gonna try to wiggle this loose off camera. Okay, great success. I was able to pull this loose. Here you can see there's an O-ring. We're gonna remove that. And then you wanna check these connecting surfaces and clean them off, make sure they're nice and clean. When you take this off, you might hear a slight hiss or a little burst of pressure come out. You should not feel a crazy amount of pressure. That means your system is not fully evacuated, and you should fix that first. Also wanted to point out, I stuffed a paper towel into the end of this line while we are disassembling and reassembling stuff, just to limit moisture that's going to get in there. There's still going to be some moisture that gets into the system. That's why we're going to pull a vacuum before we recharge, but this helps mitigate some of that. Coming back down here now, you can see the lower line. I removed it simply by pulling outward like this. You can see there's an O-ring on that we have to take off, and then same process, clean the surfaces, plug the hole with a paper towel till we have the new condenser installed. And also I'm checking the lines for any signs of cracks or nicks or breaks or anything like that. There's so many fucking bugs in here. I swear to God, I'm gonna end up with bites all over my arms by the end of the night. So I got some new O-rings on there. Hopefully you can see that, top and bottom. Next thing we're gonna do is lubricate those O-rings with a bit of this PAG oil. You can just dip your finger in it and smear it around the O-ring. This helps it seal better. AC repair work, or did I just fucking kill Shrek? Next step is gonna be unbolting the condenser from the body of the car. There's one bolt here and one bolt here, and then it's sitting on some rubber feet down there that you'll see a little closer later. I've already hit these with some WD-40 because I expect them to be kind of rusty. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and remove them. These are both 10 mil. And something quickly I just wanted to show you guys is how I'm organizing all these bolts that are lying around here, except those, ignore those. So these are all just for the condenser, and I've kind of organized them exactly how they're installed. So these top two here are the bolts that we just took off. Those are for holding the condenser onto the chassis. Then here we have upper line bolt, this bracket bolt that connected to that upper line, and then the lower line bolt. And these are both of the old O-rings I've taken off and already replaced with some of the new ones. Mom, I threw up. Okay, wait. I got it. Fuck, a mosquito just bit me. Out with the old and in with the new. All right, so here's the new condenser. As you can see, I've made a mess adding 1 ounce of pag oil back into the condenser so that when we put it in, it has enough oil circulating that it won't fuck the compressor up. Now I'm gonna put the rubber feet back on the condenser and get it installed. Okay, that took some finagling. I didn't get it on camera, but AC condenser is back installed. Down here, there are 2 rubber feet. These have to go into their corresponding holes. And then it's just a matter of plugging that line back in, connecting that bracket and plugging this line back in, and bolting these 2 in place. One thing I did notice, which I hope isn't a problem later on, is that these bolt holes don't exactly align. You have to kind of flex this outward a little bit, but I'm assuming that's why they made this rubberized. So this just needs to flex just a hair, and then it's in line. So let me get that bolted back up, and we'll go from there. Hey, look, I was fucking right. Okay, I think I've learned my lesson about getting the pag oil with the dye in it, because when I lubricated the O-rings, I got the UV dye all over them. So now this is a brand new setup. I haven't even pulled a vacuum or done anything to it yet. I don't know how well you can tell, but that shit shines like crazy as if there's a leak here, but there's not. That's just the residue left over from when I poured the oil into the condenser and from when I lubricated the O-rings. This is so satisfying, you guys. This is the first time I've ever done any AC work by myself. 9 out of 10 so far. It's kind of stressful. But I've got all the bolts torqued down, so the 2 mounting bolts, the 3 bolts holding in the lines and that 1 bracket there, the rubber feet are in their proper holes. Everything is cleaned up. I got as much of the UV dye as I could off of the lines. Still not great, but hopefully once I pull a vacuum, I'll be able to see if there's any issues there anyway. My concern right now is that I didn't use the correct sized O-rings. I just used whichever ones were closest in that pack that I had. So I guess that's something we'll also find out when I pull a vacuum. So that's actually the next thing that I want to do here. The instructions I'm following. This is not a tutorial. This is more of a vlog. The instructions that I'm following tell me to put the bumper back on now. But I think what I'm actually going to do is pivot to Chris Fix's video on recharging an AC system, because I want to pull a vacuum on my system now first, since I've just installed these components and I want to make sure that there's no more leaks. So I'm going to do that first, probably recharge it as well before I put the bumper back on. Also, right now, I'm going to replace the 2 Schrader valves in here, because the shop that I took this to for diagnostics also pointed out that that could be a potential point of leakage. And we can actually check in there too. Yeah, that is glowing like crazy. So there is probably some sort of leak coming from there. I'm going to replace the Schrader valves in there with some ones I got off of Rock Auto. Hopefully that fixes the issue. And if not, gonna have to evacuate and recharge again and replace these lines. Fingers crossed that that's not what's happening. Well, the pilgrimage is over. And now time to go back. Okay, we're back. We have the stuff. We have our vacuum pump. Apparently you need to oil it before operation. Then we're gonna hook this back up to the car, pull a vacuum, let that sit for about half an hour, make sure there's no leaks. Fingers fucking crossed. And then after that, we can work on recharging. Well, first things first, I used this really awesome little tool. This cost me $5 to unscrew the little Schrader valves in here and replace them with some new ones. And before I forget, I got these really nice colored caps off of Rock Auto to replace the dinky little blue ones that were on here before. So this is clearly color coded hot and cold. Is it acceptable to use my 3D printer as a little workstation for pulling a vacuum and recharging? Probably not. Okay, so the valves are replaced. All the repair work is technically done. Strong emphasis on technically. So now we're going to pull a vacuum and see if there's any leaks. So touching the low pressure line. It's always a fucking pain. There we go. Touching the high pressure line. There we go. So you see these little things click down. So if you pull up on them now, they should not go anywhere. These should both be fully unscrewed. So those are in the off position. And then over here on the gauge, these should be fully turned clockwise until they're tight. That's in the closed position as well. Now we're going to plug our yellow line into the vacuum pump. This looks like the right connector. Never mind. This looks like the right connector. If I said never mind again, that'd be crazy. Okay, so that's fully hand tightened on there. That's as much as we need to do. So we should be good to pull a vacuum now. So everything's connected now. All the valves are closed. So what we're gonna first do is tighten both of the valves here. Yeah, you don't have to squish them down hard. You don't want to bend the Schrader valves, the brand new shiny Schrader valves we just put in. But just enough that you know it's open for sure. Okay, that's probably good. Hey guys, ignore what I just said about not screwing the connectors down all the way. That led to the high side pressure on the manifold gauge always reading 0 while I was trying to recharge. So this plus another issue that you'll see in a little bit led this whole process to take way longer than it should have. So don't bend the valves, that is true, but still screw them down as much as you comfortably can to ensure that those Schrader valves are fully engaged. Okay, so that my phone ran out of storage on the last clip, so I don't actually know how much of it was saved. But basically we got this connected, vacuum pump was running, manifold gauges are hooked up. So what basically happened is I turned the vacuum pump on, opened those valves, so it's drawing a vacuum through the whole AC system right now. I let that run for a few minutes till it got to almost exactly 30 inches of mercury, which is I guess like a perfect ideal vacuum for this. And then I closed both of these and then turned the pump off. And now we're just waiting 30 to 45 minutes to see if these numbers go down at all, because that would indicate that there's still a leak somewhere. So it's been almost an hour, and I can in fact see that these have not moved. So I think we fixed our leak. I hope that's what that means. Next step is to turn the pump back on, let it actively pull vacuum for another 45 minutes while drawing more moisture out of the system, and then we can recharge. So in the meantime, I'm gonna edit. Okay, it has been pretty much an hour of the pump pulling vacuum. Everything should be clear of moisture now, so I'm going to close these valves. Okay, those are closed, so this is all still under vacuum, meaning I should be able to turn. Very nice. So this is all still sealed right now. What I'm gonna do next is get my refrigerant and this connector valve that you have to get. This will screw on to the refrigerant can. This should screw on to the refrigerant can. I think that's fine. You don't want to over tighten this, that's for sure. Okay, order of operations is going to be disconnect the yellow line from the pump, connect it here, twist this screw all the way down so that it pierces into the can. Then I'm going to unscrew it a little bit again so that refrigerant is flowing through the yellow line now. And then I'll have to purge all the air out of the yellow line before I start to introduce it to the system. Yeesh, okay. I'm pretty nervous. These are all compressed gases. But in theory, oh my god, this is warm. I don't like that. This is like hot to the touch. So this gets screwed on here now. So that's on there nice and tight. I'm gonna take. Oh. This is why you don't do stuff at midnight. Oh my god, that's on there good. Okay. Purge valve. So what I'm gonna do is pierce the can of the refrigerant and then let that start flowing through the yellow line up to here. And I'm gonna purge all the air that's in the line out from here with these still closed. Gloves and safety glasses are like an absolute must at this step. Hey, another quick note here. Did you hear that hiss as I screwed the can down? That's where you should stop screwing it in. These self-sealing cans of refrigerant are really finicky. Those valves inside of them that seal them off once you take the tap off can be really temperamental, and sometimes they don't work properly. So just screw it down until you hear it hissing, maybe like half a turn more, and stop there. I don't know how this works. I'm going to assume that that's fine. Fuck. That part was not fine. Let's check the other can. Okay, so that looks like a one-time pierce the can thing. So I actually do not know what to do with the rest of the other can that's about to be used. Prior to 2018, my confused little rambling would have been correct, and I would have been right to worry about what to do with that second can. But as of 2018, the EPA Clean Air Act mandated that all refrigerant canisters have to come with a self-sealing valve. So in this day and age, it's pretty unlikely you're going to come across any of that old inventory that stores were allowed to continue selling off. So this should be open now, and I should be able to purge the air. Oh, that's cool. Oh my god. There are spiders hanging above my car. Well, guys, it's the next day. I went to bed at 2 a.m. after giving up on this because I didn't want to blow anything up. I really needed the sleep because I finally figured out why the compressor won't turn on. The wire to it was disconnected. I feel like an idiot. Oh my god. So now in theory, this is all connected again. Can is tapped. Pressure is rising. I can see it. Should probably close this for now. There should be enough pressure in here already to turn the compressor on. Now I just gotta try. Okay, so it looks like plugging that back in eventually worked. It took a couple tries of unplugging and replugging it back in and starting and stopping it up. But I just turned it back on. The compressor kicked in. The low pressure side dropped. The high pressure side is slowly climbing. So I'm just gonna stand here and jerk this can off for the next 10 minutes. Hopefully it actually empties and hopefully the air starts blowing cold and then I can grab the second can. This is like freezing to the touch now. I can barely hold this. Okay, last step. I have the second can hooked up and it's sitting on a scale and you can see that I've zeroed it before I open the valve. So this is reading how much refrigerant is actually leaving the can. I'm gonna let this hit around 3 ounces. So it's at 1 right now, so 2 more ounces. That should be about 15 in my system. That's what it's calling for. Our pressures are looking as they should, somewhere between 20 and 30. It's stabilized here. It's around 100, it's a little low, but I'll let this keep going and then see how it turns out. And another thing, so when I finished filling up with the first can, the compressor was staying active all the time. It would not disengage as it should. It's supposed to kick in and kick out like that. But that wasn't happening, and that's actually a result of undercharge of refrigerant. So now that it's charged up, it's running. This is doing what it should be. This is draining. Awesome. Okay, guys, I've officially closed the valve. We're hovering between 20 and 30 PSI on the low end, around 120 to 130 on the high end. That's exactly what we want. The compressor is kicking in and out actively as it should. I added another, it kind of got messed up, but this is a total of around 3 ounces plus 12 from the other, which means we're good to go. This is so cool. And of course, you can't tell, but the AC is very nice and cold. So all that's left to do is get everything disconnected, take it for a drive, and then just keep checking for leaks with that UV light. So the caps are back on. I checked for UV dye leaks. I didn't see anything too concerning coming from these. I saw a little bit, but I don't know how old that is because the shop just checked for that like a week ago as well. Where I installed the condenser that I mentioned, I had gotten a bunch of UV dye on the outside of it. That is still very much shining on the backside. I don't think I cleaned that off as well as I should have. So I'm gonna take a little paper towel, wipe that up right now, and then it's just gonna be a waiting game of driving this around, seeing how long the air stays cold. So if a week from now it's not working again, I know that I have a pretty bad leak somewhere. If it lasts like for the next year, I probably also still have a leak somewhere, but I can worry about it a year from now. Okay, everything is assembled again. Bumper's back on, this trim piece is back on, caps are back on, AC is still working great. So perfect day to test this out because it's hot as fuck. Maiden voyage with AC. All right, guys, let's go. I need to return the vacuum pump and manifold gauge set to AutoZone, and I need to recycle my old refrigerant containers and some old brake fluid I have. Environmentally responsible. Okay, drive over, we are back. My work is officially in the car's logbook. That means we're done. Now just time for a price breakdown to see how much I actually saved versus letting a shop do this. So I put together a little price breakdown of everything I spent for this project versus what a shop charged me about 4 years ago for the exact same job. So the condenser, valve core set, and O-rings I bought off of Rock Auto. I bought a receiver dryer separately because I didn't know that the Denso one would come with one welded onto it. So I'm taking the L on the shipping cost there. The PAG 46 oil and the refrigerant and the tools that I got to use the refrigerant and replace my service port valves I got from AutoZone. And then I had to get my AC system evacuated before I could work on it at all, which cost $80 at a shop nearby. So in total, parts, tools, and supplies included, I spent $275.57. I think that's a really good deal, especially because the expected cost at a shop, which includes diagnostic services, evacuation and recharge, the condenser, the PAG oil, the UV dye, and labor, would be around $1,200. By doing it myself, I believe that I saved about $900 here, which is pretty freaking awesome. So that's been it. Thanks for watching.